Welcome back to another episode of Time Out with the Sports Doctor podcast. As you can see, we're rocking the pink today for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Breast Cancer Awareness is a month that's gotten a lot of publicity as of late. A lot of research is being done currently to end this deadly disease. So from Time Out with the Sports Doctor, we salute everyone who is currently going through treatment. We encourage everyone to undergo the proper preventative measures to try to catch the disease process early if you do have it. And we remember and honor the lives that have been lost to this deadly disease over the years. If you listen to the last episode, it is also Mental Health Awareness Month. And last episode, we had a mental health check-in just to say truly, how are you doing? Today, this episode is a very special one. On the last episode, I mentioned that I will be attending Xavier University of Louisiana to speak to the biology department. So today I'll be sharing that speech with you. I was able to connect with a current mentee, old professors, and being able to just be in the building and seeing the young, eager faces, seeing those who are very determined to, number one, graduate from undergraduate, but also pursuing careers in biology and science and medicine. And it was great for me to just reflect on my own path, to see how many obstacles I've overcome and the distance traveled to pursue this orthopedic surgery career, and just really appreciative for all the victories, for the setbacks, and all the things that I'm still enduring even now. So I hope you enjoy this episode. I also would like to extend an invitation to everyone, to all those who have been supporting me. Each year I do a special episode for Thanksgiving, for giving thanks. I welcome you to participate in this episode. So if you're interested, reach out to me or submit a 60 to 90 second video saying what you're thankful for. It does not have to have anything to do with this podcast, but what you're thankful for in your world, in your life. I would love to be able to share it. So enjoy this episode and be blessed. It's definitely an honor to be back here. You know, people say that, but what does that really mean? Because Xavier is a place that I grew up and graduated, still growing, but with a lot more, many more lessons than when I came, right? So this is not a sales event by any stretch of the imagination. I have no disclosures. This is not a lecture. Unfortunately, I will not teach you anything that's going to help you on that exam that you have later on this afternoon, but I know you already studied. That's why you're at Xavier. But what I will do, if you will lock in for the next 30 minutes, is hopefully unlock something that's already inside of you that we might not be aware of. So we'll start off with which one is more important, journey or the destination. But we hear a lot about the journey. Many times we're very focused on the destination, getting to that end point. But how do you define that? So which one is more important? So as we go through this, don't just look at me. This lecture is not about me. This lecture is about you and how does this fit into your journey. This is the game plan. We'll try to stick to it. We'll talk about my personal journey in medicine. We'll talk about the Xavier experience. I'm class of 2002. Our slogan was second to none. What is sports medicine? What do I do on a daily basis? HBCU made and now HBCU paid. And you are built for this. All right. So many times when you're sitting in this seat, it's hard to imagine that you can compete with the rest of the world. It's hard to imagine that you can compete with people that have larger name schools, so they think, right? It's hard to imagine that sometimes, even once you get that degree, that you're actually qualified to do what you trained to do. About that some as we go throughout. All right, so Muscle Shoals, Alabama, probably have never heard of it unless you are a music fan or music buff from the late 60s and 70s. Band recording studios are very popular. Aretha Franklin, a lot of big names came through Muscle Shoals, even though Muscle Shoals has a population of about 10 to 15,000 people. At one point, it was like the Motown of the South. So if you don't know about that, and you haven't heard of Helen Keller or W.C. Handy, who were born there, you probably know nothing about Muscle Shoals. Now, these three guys here are all in my class from 1998 at Muscle Shoals High School. Came with me to Xavier to start our journey. So Ronald Chadwick Benson to the far left, Callis Hogan in the middle, who is now chairman at the Department of Orthopedic Surgery in Pittsburgh. And the skinny guy to the left, that's myself. So that's us in 1998. We are, coming from the country to the Big Easy. Still have a hard time believing my mom let me come to New Orleans, but she was a praying woman. So we came, we really didn't, right? We know that we got a package in the mail with a t-shirt on it, with a t-shirt in it, which was brilliant. I was sold once I got that free t-shirt. At that time, Xavier was number one for years of placing African Americans into medical school. And I have a t-shirt, told my mom I'm going to New Orleans to school. First generation. I'm the grandson of indentured servants. I am the son of my parents integrated the high schools in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. My mother was an educator. My father worked in a factory. However, he took education very serious, and he let me know that if I did not get my education, I had to work like he was working the rest of my life. He did not tell me that if I got my education, I still had to work like he was working the rest of my life. I went from being the chosen few. So I grew up in a town, we were probably 15% of the population. There was 20 African Americans in my class out of a class of about 150. If you saw someone in the advanced classes, on the honors teams, on the scholastic programs, there was one of us three. And then I arrived at Howard Hughes to this. So it's a little bit of adjustment. So not only was I the token smart kid, I was starting to look around at the other guys around me like, okay, you went to school here. What prep academy did you go to? You went to this school, you went to that school. And I was starting to say, wow, do I have what it takes, number one, to get through this? Because not only, I thought I was smart, and I realized, you're average. This was the first time I was really engulfed into a community where it was okay to be smart. It was okay to go to the library, right, and study. It was a place where we were here to push each other. This was only Howard Hughes. This was not freshman orientation. This was Howard Hughes. So at Howard Hughes, they still have the Howard Hughes programs? No, unfortunately not. But Howard Hughes, so we started in June. So we did a 6-week program where we took, I think it was general chemistry. We got started with some of the lab courses, and we were here for about 6 weeks to college. So Howard Hughes, 1998, Dr. J.W. Carmichael, all right? So they had the pre-med roadmap. It was basically you walk on campus and you go to your class, and then every Monday afternoon, you show up in the evening and you all complain, why am I here 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the evening talking about pre-medical things, topics, lectures, how to write a resume, how to write a personal statement. Where am I going after my freshman year? Why am I going to start doing research so early? I mean, we complained about all of it, right? But it was his way or the highway, all right? And if you didn't do what you're supposed to do, he'll let you know, I'll call your mama, okay? And he did. He actually told my mom very grand tale about, he called me under the steps, da, 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 da. It was all lies. But we laughed about that for years. During the summer, I spent my sophomore year. So freshman year, I did Minority Medical Improvement Program. I know those programs are going at UAB. My sophomore year, I went to Duke University. Then my junior year, I went to Johns Hopkins. So that was all helping to build my resume. All right. So if you are a student that know you might have some inadequacies with whether it's academics, whether it's test taking, you have to do all that you can to make your resume, build it as much as possible. So we'll talk about how to do that. So one way is with service. Being here at Xavier, we were able to get out in the community to do many different service projects. That was our kids from right across, I can't think of the name of the school now, but we used to go over one Saturday, they'll come on campus. I was involved in service all the way throughout. And I feel that service is something that's very important. Biology pre-med is almost like a reflex. When you think, hey, I want to go to medical school, I'm biology pre-med. Okay, so what makes you different? Because I have this huge stack of papers. Everybody's biology pre-med. We all have good GPAs. We all have strong MCAT scores. How do I get you out of this step, right? what makes me say, it'll be interesting to actually just sit down and have a conversation with this person. So grant them an interview because I want to hear more about this service project that they started. I want to hear more about this research that they did at Johns Hopkins. So research. This is me, I think, and one of them was at Johns Hopkins, one of them was at Duke. Did I love research? No. All right. Did I join Mark Scholars? Yes. Why did I join Mark Scholars? Because it helped me, number one, build my resume, and it came with a stipend. All right. So I was able to do research. I was able to do something that was going to help me with my future. Was I going to get a PhD? No. Did I apply for MD, PhD programs? Yes. Why? Because there's another opportunity. Now, do I still do research? Yes. Do I do benchtop research? No. Do I do clinical research? Yes. So I don't want to get a master's. I don't want to do this because of X, Y, and Z. Be careful when you do that because you never really know what doors will open up later on. So research was definitely one of the main pillars that helped us be successful as Xavier students. Also, relationships. So it's crazy because as I was making this talk, there's going to be at least one or two people today that I went to school with your parents, which is, lets me know I'm getting old. But yeah, so this is me. I think that's probably in the middle. That's the man of cap out aside in front of the building. But this is my crew far left. So Howard Hughes, third floor, St. Michael's dormitory last night. So Neil Lewis, Robert Hines, Pee Wee, McAllis Hogan, that I just talked to you about from Muscle Shoals, who is now the chairman, and down at the bottom, Albert Johnson. I don't know, his son is definitely here and supposed to be coming. He's a psychology major. I told his dad he had to go to a psychology meeting when he was coming over. So anybody know a Johnson from St. Louis? That's his dad in the bottom. All right, so academics. You can have all the service you want. You can do all the research you want, but if you don't have the grades, it's going to be very hard to get into any kind of graduate program. It's going to be hard to get into medical school, occupational therapy school, whatever school you're trying to fly to. You have to have the grades. Now, to get your grades up, I don't know what the cutoff is, but I'd imagine probably 3.5 or higher to get into a lot of graduate programs, especially medical school, dental schools, and things of this nature. Now, talking about the destination, one of the main destinations when you walked on the Xavier campus as a pre-medical student was to have your picture in the bookcase and to have your picture in this newsletter, the TWACS. Does TWACS still come out this week at Xavier? A major milestone when you got accepted into graduate school. You got your little picture there and your little one-liner to say you were accepted. As you can see, I want to say this might have been February. We had 92 people. I think my class ended up having right about 110 accepted into medical and dental school. It's a graduation picture. So that's why your parents spend the money so you walk away with a diploma. They don't spend the money for you to come and flash. They don't spend the money for you to come and hang out. They spend the money so you walk away with the diploma, right? So when I was applying for Xavier, Dr.Derrick Robinson, who was fraternity brother, was also the president of Howard University College of Medicine. That's very convenient, right? So when he picks you up at the front door on the day that you're interviewing and he walks you around and allows you to shake hands with people that are going to be sitting on the committee, you think that helps a little bit? So that's the relationship part. That's what you get coming being here at Xavier. You're going to be a part of this large alumni system with people all over the country that you can really tap into. All right. So when I got to Howard University College of Medicine, I was prepared because I was built for some of the adversity that would hit during medical school. As my wife was just saying earlier, you sat in this auditorium during orientation and they say, look to your left, look to your right. Somebody will not be finishing. I knew it wasn't going to be me because I wasn't going back home. All right. But did I have struggles during medical school? Yes. Did I have struggles with completion of medical school? You know, I said I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon when I was 15, 16 years old. Got denied my first time. All right. So what do I do? Or do you choose another route? So my choice was to push on. I'm here today. They've already introduced me as an orthopedic surgeon. So you know it worked out for me. However, There are going to come times when you have to make those decisions. Hey, what do I do next? Is this why strong enough for me to continue to push forward, or do I just say, all right, well, it's okay if I'm not an X, I'll just choose to do Y, right? But you have to know what your endpoint is. You have to know why you're doing what you're doing. Are you a young physician who's frustrated in figuring out how you're going to continue to fund yourself through this early phase of your career? Are you tired of speaking to lenders who do not understand your plight? We have a solution for you. Let me introduce you to Doc Lending.
Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Zawade Marshall, co-founder, CEO of Dr. Lending. We are the exclusive lending partner for physicians and dentists in the United States. We underwrite our loans thoughtfully, knowing the physician journey and your career trajectory. We're a company that's been founded by doctors and built for doctors because we get it. Banks don't understand all the ways in which we struggle through educational debt, consumer debt, as we're trying to make ends meet during a very challenging time of our lives. Doc is underwritten with thoughtful process that's meant to give you credit for all the unique physician characteristics that you have, like being board certified, having a dual degree, undergoing and finishing a specialty or a fellowship as well, and just being employed as a physician. All of those things give you credit to get your interest rate lower with our platform.
So we are glad to partner with Doc Lending. So if you are stuck trying to figure out where you can get funding or where you can continue to support your family during this time of transition in your career, we offer you a solution. Doc Lending, physician owned, understands your plight, understands what it's like to be an early physician or a physician who wants to do something outside of medicine. Check out Doc Lending. This segment is a paid advertisement for Doc Lending Inc. Loans are made available by DR Bank, member FDIC, and are subject to credit approval and available in approved states only. Representative APRs for Doc range from 9.99% to 26.99%. Terms and conditions available at doc2doclending.com. I finished medical school. I met my lovely wife, Dr. Maisha Burgess, who is also a pediatric dentist. So we met when I was finishing med school. She was still in dental school, ended up doing my residency there. She ended up doing her residency in pediatric dentistry there. We started our family during training. We were talking earlier about certain things people say. I don't want to be a doctor because I want to have a life. I want to have a family. Sometimes you have to just fit life into your plans. Okay, so we were able to do all of it. We had a child doing residency. We have 3 children now. They're here. So it's all, and they're all a huge part of my journey. So my journey would be completely different if I was not married with 3 children. That is very important. So he was at a award ceremony senior year. We started to talk about schools. I don't know if Xavier was in your top 3 at that point. I told him, if you want to go to medical school, Xavier should be number 1. He ended up here. Russ Coleman sitting down front. I've known him now for probably about 5 years. He's applying for pharmacy school.
No, he's in pharmacy.
I'm studying right now, but I'm glad to do. But mentorship is very important because mentorship will get your name at the doors. How did I get here today? Because somebody said, you know what, Dr. Burgess might be good to speak to our group. Having a mentor or having a mentee, it works both ways because they're going to be able to get you into certain doors that you can't get into. And likewise, it's a learning. I can tell him things that I've seen, but he can also tell me things to relate to you better, because who cares about my experiences if you can't relate to the younger generation? Right? Terry Thompson to the far left, Dr. Craig Bennett was one of the first sports medicine mentors that I had, and then Dr. Mark Galloway, who is currently the team physician for Cincinnati Bengals. I met him during my fellowship. These men have been very instrumental and still are in my journey now. So this is where I did fellowship. I did a 1-year fellowship in Cincinnati. We helped take care of the Bengals. We took care of a lot of elite athletes. This is the time when you're able to, so you do medical school, residency, and then fellowship is when you really start to hone in on your skills. So I do probably 90% of my practice came from this 1-year training. That's when I learned how to do arthroscopic procedures, ligament reconstructions, shoulder surgery, things of that nature. So this group's all this, the journey, right? So I made it to the destination, or did I? So I finished fellowship. 14, 15 years of training. I get my first job as a team physician. I'm taking care of athletes. I'm getting out in the community. I'm living the dream, right? I made it to the destination, or have I? I left that first job within the first year. All right. At that point, 2 children, just finding out we're pregnant with the third, trying to get established, wife trying to start her career, and it's time to move. So be careful when you're seeking the destination, right? The journey is really what defines you. The journey is what makes you who you are. The journey is what's going to teach you all the life lessons to prepare you for where you're going, and suddenly change. So I said, okay, well, I'm here. I'm already in Georgia. How about I just look in Metro Atlanta? That'll be good. We'll find a job in Atlanta. We'll be here. There's a nice, comfortable spot. And then they said, no, I have a perfect job for you, but it's in Laurel, Mississippi. So we want our dreams to be clean and well packed, but they don't always reveal themselves like that. Sometimes that dream can get really nasty before it gets clean. So here we go, Laurel, Mississippi. So now I'm in Laurel, Mississippi. All I know about Laurel is it's got an S curve. All right. And you have to slow down when you're coming down the interstate to about 45 miles per hour so you don't run off the road. That's the only thing I know about Laurel. However, when I went to interview there, they had a need for sports medicine. If one thing to be wanted, is another thing to be needed. All right. Had the infrastructure in its place. They had athletic trainers. They needed a physician to be able to refer all these athletes to do surgery. So this was my training ground. So the first job, I valued it. Second job, I appreciated it. All right. I prepared. I was not going to be caught unprepared. I was going to work harder than everybody else around me. I was not going to get burned the second time. So this is what we see on TV. This is what we think sports medicine is, right? It's the limelight. See me on TV. I'm standing right beside Coach Prime. This is, we won a championship. This is what we think sports medicine is. However, it's not, right? It is more like taking care of regular people, all right? It's taking care of athletes, which I love because athletes tend to be very, very involved in their care, very in tune to their bodies, very motivated to get back to what they want to do. Also, athletes tend to look like me in most situations. I don't care what school it is. And I'm able to connect with that athlete many times and say, hey, what are your plans for at the end of sports? I'm not going to tell you you're not going to make it to the NBA or the NFL, but I can tell you that that's temporary. So what are you going to do with the rest of your life after the end of your career? What are you going to do? How are you going to feed your family after your playing days? As a sports medicine physician, I get to treat athletes on the field, in the training room, in the office setting, in the operative setting. So each day is different. Sometimes I'm doing two or three of those settings in the same day. So it's very exciting. There's very little downtime. And then, also mixing in family as well. So I'm a very busy person. However, it's very gratifying and satisfying what I do. Getting engagement. The way that I built my practice is by getting out in the community, especially when I was in Laurel. If you're from a small town, you know that sports are king many times. Unfortunately, sometimes more important than academics, but that's how you connect with people. So we really got involved in the community doing service. That allows you to meet a lot of people. I met people who are really still involved in my life now. To the left is Keon Howard. He was a quarterback when I first got to ball. He's now advising me on things. So as I was talking about, their relationships can go both ways. But community engagement is very important. Sometimes you have to build your own system. So when I first got there, remember, this was not my ideal job. This was what sports medicine and sports performance looked like. This was the room that was used for like step aerobics. We transformed it into our gym. So right here, we're rehabbing some ACL patients. 7, 8 years later, this is what sports performance looked like because I was able to get buy-in on my dream. So now we had physical therapy in one building. You walk over, you had 40 yards of carpet, you had weights. We went from training 8 to 10 athletes to training 100 athletes each summer. So sometimes you're looking for that perfect job and sometimes you have to build that perfect job. So just know that the job that you think that you have in mind might not be there. Taking care of people that are not many times valued by other people. So building. All right, leadership. I know that leadership is something that definitely is emphasized here at Xavier. Leadership comes in all different forms. President. Sometimes you can be a leader by being the person that's always there to work, right? So this is a picture from 2020. A lot of the same faces that I've talked about earlier. So a lot of miseducation and lack of education was going on. So what do? We started a mask wearing initiative, not a podcast because it didn't exist at that time, but I had a kind of community forum, which ended up leading to me starting a podcast where I was able to help get the information out. Once again, that young man that I talked about was a quarterback. During COVID, he called me and said, "Hey, I think I want to do a luncheon for the kids because they're out of school. How are they going to eat?" And it started off very small. Yeah, probably $150. How many people are participating in this? I've talked to a couple of people. How much money do you have? About $150. So I was able to use my contacts to get people to invest in this. He was able to feed probably about 100 kids for 6 weeks in a row, never spending any of his own money because he was able to lean on relationships of a mentor, right? So that's that mentoring piece. By the end of this 6 weeks, an F4 tornado strikes the area, wipes out everything. This last feeding weekend turned into a clothing drive. So you never know. Sometimes you have to get started. Get started afraid, get started scared, get started unplanned, but get started because you don't know where you're headed. But if you apply, it's going to start to make more sense in my life. This is a very important picture. This is me after I passed all my boards that took several years to pass. That's a certificate of me being a board certified orthopedic surgeon. This is me as the first African American to be an orthopedic surgeon in Laurel, Mississippi. And that's me with my face on the wall as the medical staff president after about 5 years of work. You don't have to have a title to lead. If you're a leader and you do what you're supposed to do, people will recognize it. All right, so we were settled in Laurel, Mississippi, and then I get a call from another mentor. And that's what led us to Jackson, Mississippi. So, and I came across an email last night. In 2020, I got with a small group of orthopedic surgeons and said, how do we provide better care for HBCU athletes? And we reached out to Jackson State. We had 2 or 3 meetings. It went deathly silent. That was December 18th, 2020 was the last email. February of 2022, my phone rings. Dr. Burgess, I need your help. We are taking care of Jackson State, and my sports medicine physician has left, and I need somebody to take care of them in spring training. I said, well, yes, I'll help. I'm not sure how this is going to work. I have a full-time job. My wife has a full-time practice. We live 90 miles away, but yes, I'll help. So the dream that I was praying for and preparing for in 2020 went deathly silent. 15 months later, I'm getting a call, hey, can you help me become the head physician of Jackson State Athletics? That's how it works. When opportunity knocks, if you say no this first time and you're waiting on that second knock, number one, it might not happen. And when it does happen, it might look completely different. So I left after that season. But I was there for that whole season, the championship run. And like I said, when opportunity knocks, you have to be ready. Now, growth can be uncomfortable and difficult, but growth is necessary if you're going to continue on the track that God has destined for you. So I feel that I'm walking in that path. However, things are not completely figured out even now. All right. But sometimes you have to act when the opportunity is there. So I spoke about that email. 12/18/2022 was the day after the Celebration Bowl that Jackson State lost at the last second. 2 years later from that email, I was the head team physician, had gone through a full season, Coach Prime, Shadur Shiloh, Travis Hunter, experienced that whole thing from something that was seeds that were planted 2 years earlier. So now, as we mentioned, head team physician, taking care of 350 athletes, care of their athletes as well. And now I'm teaching not only just doing surgery, I'm teaching residents. Top left picture, I'm working with medical students. I'm working with sports medicine fellows. I'm working with research residents. That's all part of my daily routine. So these are some of the people I get to work with to help take care of the athletes. So why not you? So 2021, I decided I love mentoring athletes. I love mentoring students, but how can I do this on a grander stage? After doing that community town hall, I said, maybe I'll start a podcast. So Time Out with the Sports Doctor was created. This little meme of the guy with the referee outfit with the white coat. I see it all over. But I started this in 2021 trying to figure out, what background did I have on running a podcast? I'm a physician. Physicians don't do things other than take care of patients. They're not entrepreneurs. They take care of patients. Here I am trying to do a podcast. But starting that podcast, it has people reaching out to me, asking me, will I be a board member on their organization? As organizations reaching out to me saying, hey, will you be a brand ambassador for us to help us promote disability insurance and student loans and things of that nature? All right. So what you're birthing right now, you don't know where it's taking you. But I can guarantee you, if you get started today, you'll be much closer to that dream than if you continue to sit in this seat and think about it. All right. So you are prepared. I have a student shadowing me right now, Lamaya Hall, class of 2019. She just finished medical school at LSU. She's doing a research year right now at UAB, applying for orthopedics. I said, what do I need to tell the students? Concentrate on your personal journey. Concentrate on what you have going on right now. So don't compare yourselves to others. And she said, don't stop. When adversity hits, expect adversity to come. Do not go through life thinking that it's going to be a bed of roses. Expect adversity to come, because when it comes, you're going to be more prepared for it. All right. So why not you? So back to this cartoon. I tricked you in the beginning. I didn't even show you all. The tiny dragon said the company. So the journey is going to teach you. The destination is going to keep being redefined as you continue to go. The place that I thought I'd arrived to, now I realize there's still more levels. There's higher heights. There's more to be done. So, but the people that I've met, Keon Howard in 2014, McAllis Hogan, Alfred Johnson, Pee Wee, Neil Lewis, 1998. That's your dad, right? So the people I met then, I'm texting last night. Make sure your son is there. I want to meet him. All right. Don't being the best version of yourself and let the rest take care of itself. Thank you for this opportunity. That's my time. Thank you for continuing to support this podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, then please leave a 5-star review. And if you haven't done so, subscribe so you continue to get the updated episodes. Until later, peace.
Hey, time out with the sports doctor. Keep our head right in the game. We ain't never stopping. You are now tuned in. Trust you don't want to miss. This is where life, sports, and medicine